para may proof. Ayan, magpa-practice lang tayo ng deferrals. Kasi meron tayong activity next meeting. Deferrals and accruals. So, ito. Exercise 1. Basic na sa'yo to, no? Kung nag-practice ka. So, sabi dyan, scenario. October 1, 2025, nagbayad ng 18,000 for 3-year insurance premium recorded as an asset. So, dito sa problem na to, marami kang manonote, no? Una, kung kailan siya nagbayad. So, dito, yung flow of cash. October 1. Tapos, kung gaano katagal pakikinabangan yung binili. Which is, sa case natin, ang binili ay insurance. So, prepaid insurance. So, 3 years mo daw pakikinabangan yung insurance. And then, kung paano ni-record yung insurance sa unang beses, no? Which is, ni-record siya as an asset. So, ito ay asset method. Okay? Yan. So, ang task natin, dalawa. Number 1, prepare the initial entry on October 1, 2025. So, initial entry mo is kung kailan nag-flow yung cash, which is October 1 nga. Then, number 2, prepare adjusting entry on December 31, 2025, which is yung year-end. Okay? So, tara gawin natin yung unang dalawang entry. So, dito na lang sa whiteboard. So, exercise 1. Gawin natin green. Para initial entry green. Exercise 1. Deferrals. Okay? So, exercise 1. Entry number 1 is, syempre, yung date mo na October 1, 2025. Nagbayad siya ng 18,000. So, meron kang credit sa cash, 18,000. And ang debit mo ay prepaid insurance. Kasi nga, recorded siya as an asset. Parang hindi kita yung green. Hindi masyadong kita yung green. Palitan lang natin. Gawin na nating red. So, exercise. Gawin nating red para mas kita. Exercise. Deferrals. October 1, 2025. Debit, prepaid insurance. Credit, cash, 18,000. So, yun na, yung task 1, 18,000. Okay? So, yung entry mo, yung original entry mo, yung initial entry mo, nung nagbayad ka ng 18,000 for prepaid insurance. Next, kailangan mo yung adjusting entry. Uy, ano to? May lumitaw dyan na lilipat ko lang yan. Yan. Next, kailangan mo yung adjusting entry mo noong December 31. So, mag-entry ka ulit ng December 31. Pag-isayin na lang natin yung kulay, no? Kailangan mong i-adjust yung prepaid insurance. Bakit? Kasi nag-lapse na yung ilang buwan. Bilangin mo, from October, November, December. Tandaan mo, October 1 siya nag-start. So, ibig sabihin, sa beginning ng October, gawa lang tayong timeline dito, no? October 1, tapos November 1, okay. November 1, December 1, tapos December 31. Ito, take note. Tignan mong maigi kung kailan yung start date. October 1, which is dito sa beginning. Kasi minsan, sasabihin sa problem, October 31 siya bumili insurance. E di, pag October 31 siya bumili, dito na yun, sa dulo. So, parang November 1 na rin siya. Okay? Bakit nagmamatter yun? Kasi yung pagbilang mo ng number of months na nag-lapse ay mag-iiba. So, sige, sa case natin ngayon, October 1 siya nag-start. So, ang bilang mo, mula sa start ng October. So, mula dito, tatalon ka ng November 1, 1 month. Tatalon ka ng December 1, 2 months. Then, December 31, 3 months. So, 3 months yung nag-lapse. Okay? Whereas, paano 'pag sinabing October 31 nag-start? October 31. So, ang bilang mo mula dito sa dulo na ng October. So, October 31 papunta ng November 30. Yeah, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November 30. Okay, tama. Tapos, December 31. 2 months na lang kapag sa end ng October nag-start. Tama? Okay. So, nagma-matter 'yun, tandaan mo lagi. Tingnan mo maigi kung kailan nag-start yung, yung, original entry. Okay. So, bilangin na ngayon natin, 3 months ang nag-lapse. Tandaan mo, yung prepaid insurance mo na 18,000 binayaran mo siya for ilang years daw? Good for 3 years. Sabi sa problem, ayun, good for 3 years. So, yung 18,000 na 'yan, magagamit mo siya for 3 years. Okay. Ayan, para malaman mo kung magkano yung nag-expire na prepaid insurance, i-divide mo ngayon yung 18,000 sa 3 years, and then yung 3 years divide mo into number of months. 12 pa. Sige, ang gawin na lang natin, para mas simple, ilang buwan ba meron sa 3 taon? So, sa 3 taon, merong ilang buwan? So, 3 years times 12, this is 36, tama ba? Accountant, hindi confident 'pag nagme-mental math. 36 months. So, puwede nating sabihin na yung 18,000 na 'yan is magagamit for 36 months. So, ang gawin mo, yung 18,000 na prepaid insurance, divide mo sa 36 months para makuha mo yung per month niya na nagagamit na. So, buwan-buwan nag-e-expire yung insurance mo ng ₱500, okey, per month. Bakit yun nagma-matter? Kasi itong per month na 'yan, 'yan yung nagiging expense portion. Tandaan mo, ni-record mo yung prepaid insurance as an asset nung initial entry. Kailangan mo sundin yung matching principle na tinatawag, wherein kailangan mong i-recognize as expense paunti-unti yung asset na 'yan. Bakit? Kasi nga nagagamit mo siya for 3 years. So, para gawin yon, divide mo na lang per month para makuha mo kung magkano yung na-e-expire per month o magkano yung nagla-lapse per month. So, sa case natin, 3 buwan yung nag-lapse hanggang December, tapos alam mo na 500 per month yung naging expense. So, 3 months times 500 per month, ang naging expense mo for the lapse of 3 months na yan, yung from October to December, ay 1,500. Okay? So, yung 1,500 na yan, yan ay yung dapat mong i-recognize as expense. Okay? So, ang gawin mo dyan, debit, insurance expense. Ay, gawin nating red. Para lahat ng entries red, yung explanations blue. Insurance expense, 1,500. Credit, prepaid, insurance, 1,500. Okay? So, ayan na. Yung journal entry mo, initial entry, ito yon, initial entry. Then, ito yung adjusting entry mo as of year end. So, tingnan natin kung tama. So, meron kang initial entry, debit prepaid insurance, credit cash. Tapos, adjusting entry is debit insurance expense, 1,500, credit, prepaid insurance, 1,500. So, tama yung ginawa natin sa first item. Nakuha mo yun? Pag nakuha mo, pumuso ka, mag-like ka. Pag hindi mo nakuha, mag-raise ka na ng question. Unmute. Nakuha naman, ayan. Nakuha ni Sing, ni Pasina, ni Santos Renz, Pandatuan. Alright, sige, no? Thanks. Proceed tayo sa exercise number 2, unearned service revenue. Deferrals pa rin dito, no? Kasi pag sinabing unearned, may natanggap ka na Cash. Ang hirap mag-drawing ng cash. Gawin na lang nating sako ng pera. Yan. Tapos may peso sign dyan. Yan. Peso sign. Yan. Sako ng pera. Nakatanggap ka ng pera, kaya lang hindi mo pa na-perform yung serbisyo mo. So, unearned yung pera na yan. Yung pera na natanggap mo, wala ka pang karapatan for that, no? Tinanggap mo lang siya in advance, pero hindi pa sa'yo yan. Bakit? Hindi mo pa na-perform yung service. Unearned service revenue. So, ganun pa rin, no? Sumusunod pa rin tayo sa concept ng deferrals. Na sa deferrals kasi, nauuna yung flow of cash. So, yung pera muna ang gumagalaw. Okay. So, scenario. November 1. Uy, beginning ng November. Tanda mo yung concept dyan? Pag beginning ng November, bilangin mo yung month ng November. Pero pag end ng November, skip mo na yung month ng November, bilang ka agad ng December. Okay? So, yung timeline, dinrawing natin yung concept dito. Tandaan mo na yan. Huwag mo nang kakalimutan yan. So, November 1, you receive 24,000 cash. Dami. Naka-receive ka ng 24,000 cash for 6-month consulting. So, consulting yung service mo. No? Okay? So, gawin na natin agad yung entries. Hindi pala. Kailangan natin malaman kung anong gamit niyang method. Okay? So, company initially credit service revenue. So, kinikredit niya daw ay service revenue. So, this is revenue method. Okay? Or income statement method. Yan. So, tingnan natin kung tanda mo yung concept. Kapag ang sinabi dyan, initially credits as a liability. Okay? Liability method yun. Kaso ang nilagay dito ng problem ay kinredit agad as service revenue. Ibig sabihin, yung 24,000 na yan, na-record niya agad as service revenue. Okay? Sige. Gawin natin dito. Bakit na? Nasa pinakababa na agad ako. Ay, mali. Hindi ko pa rin na-scroll. Sige. Dito na lang tayo. Tayo mag-adjust. Number 2 tayo. Number 2. Ito ay unearned service revenue. Sabi, naka-receive daw tayo ng cash ng November 1, 2025. Okay? Naka-receive ng cash. So, debit, cash. 24,000. Then, yung ginawa natin at initial entry, kinredit agad natin as revenue. So, credit, service revenue. 24,000. Ngayon, maglalapse ang ilang buwan. Gawa tayo ng timeline. Sa una, baka kailangan mo pa mag-drawing ng timeline. No? Pero, pag hasa ka na dyan, kahit hindi ka na mag-drawing, magigets mo agad yan. November 1. December 1. Tapos, December 31. Sinabi ng problem, November 1 siya nakaka-receive. So, dito ka mag-start ng bilang mo. 1 month, 2 months. Sabi sabihin, 2 months yung lumipas. Okay? Ilang buwan daw yung consulting? Consulting is 6 months. So, yung na-receive mo na 24,000 is good for 6 months. Dapat yan. Okay? Dapat in 6 months, bago mo siya i-recognize as service revenue. Okay? Ano mang ginawa mo nung start pa lang, ni-record mo agad buong buo, 24,000 as service revenue. Tama ba yan? Hindi. Kasi portion yan ay unearned pa. So, ang gagawin mo, hihiwalay mo lang yung unearned portion dun sa earned portion. Yung earned portion, yun lang dapat yung matira sa credit na yan, sa credit sa service revenue. So, kailangan mo, bawasan mo yung service revenue na ni-recognize. Okay? Sa adjusting entry mo, kailangan mo bawasan yung service revenue na ni-recognize. So, gawin natin. Entry number 2, which is yung adjusting entry mo na ng December 31, 2025. So, sabi natin, kailangan mong bawasan yung kinredit mo sa service revenue. Okay? Kasi yung portion na yun, unearned pa. So, tingnan natin kung magkano yung unearned portion. Kung yung 24,000 ay good for 6 months, Divide mo siya sa 6 months. 24 divided by 6. Magkano per month yan? Sabayan nyo ako ha. 4,000 per month. Okay? Natin kulay. Gawin natin blue para yung explanation ay blue. Okay. 24 divided by 6. Ulitin lang natin para malinis. 24,000 divided by 6 months is 4,000 per month. Ilang buwan yung na-earn? 2 months yung na-earn, no? 2 months na yung lumipas. So, times 2 months, ang earned portion mo lang ay 8,000. So, ito yung earned portion. Magkano yung record mo na revenue sa service revenue? 24,000 yung na-record mo eh. So, dapat yung 24,000, ang matira lang dyan, 8,000. So, alisin mo yung 8,000, 24 minus 8, makukuha mo yung unearned portion. So, ito yung unearned portion. Okay? So, itong unearned portion na yan yung kailangan mong ibawas sa 24 para ang matira lang ay 8,000. Which is yung totoong naging kita mo lang, naging revenue mo lang for the year. Okay? So, para gawin yon, debit mo ang service revenue. Kasi pag nagbabawas tayo ng revenue, dinedebit natin. Debit, service, revenue. Magkano? This is a ismil. 16,000. Credit, unearned service revenue. 16,000. Okay? So, pag ginawa mo yan, yung ending balance ng service revenue mo ay, kapag nagawa tayo ng T accounts for service revenue, T accounts for service revenue, meron kang credit na 24,000, tapos may debit ka na 16,000, ang magiging ending balance mo lang for the year ay 8,000, which is yung tamang balance mo kasi yun lang yung earned mo eh. 2 buwan ka lang pinakinabangan ng kliyente mo. So yun lang, yung i-recognize mo as earned portion. Okay? So ayan, ang entry mo for unearned service revenue. Okay, so debit cash, 24,000. Credit service revenue, 24,000. Tama? Service revenue. Then, for your adjusting entry, debit service revenue, 16,000. Credit unearned revenue, 16,000. Ayun o. Debit service revenue, 16,000. Credit unearned service revenue, 16,000. Okay, sulat mo yan. Dapat nagsusulat ka, no? Habang nagpa-practice tayo. Ayan, kasi buburahin natin yan. Teka, paano ba ito i-copy? Pag nagbukas ako ng panibagong, ayun, burado na. Alright. So, ayan. For unearned service revenue. Sige nga, nasundan ba to? Kung nasundan, pumuso, mag-like. Kung hindi, mag-unmute, magreklamo. Okay, nasundan. Very good. Very good. O, tara. Tuloy natin to. Tuloy natin sa exercise number 3, supplies naman. So, nangyari dito, bumili ng supplies. So, kapag supplies ang binili, ibig sabihin, outflow ng cash. Lumabas yung pera. So, tingnan natin yung problem, kung anong mga mapupulot natin sa problem na information. Okay? Scenario, January 1, beginning of the year, bumili siya ng 5,000 na supplies. Okay? Tapos, nirecord niya as asset. Okay? Then, December 31, nagkaroon ng physical count. Ibig sabihin nito, binilang. Binilang yung supplies na natitira pa sa kanyang garahe, for example. Ginagawa ba talaga yan sa accounting? Yes. No, ginagawa yan. Kaya yung mga kilala mo accountant, mga auditor, kung meron man, nagbabagong taon sila minsan sa kliyente nila kasi nagbibilang sila. Nagbibilang sila ng inventory. or nag-o-observe sila rather. Ino-observe nila yung ginagawang pagbibilang dun sa inventory ng clients nila. Okay? So, bakit ginagawa yun? Tinitingnan kung ilan pa yung natitira. Kasi kung ilan lang yung natitira sa garahe, yun na lang dapat yung asset nila. Okay? For example, bumili ka ng kahon-kahon na supplies ng, let's say, ano ba to? Pako. Kunwari, manufacturing ka o kaya ano, gumagawa ka ng furnitures. So, itong mga pako na yan, inventory mo, ginagamit mo yan sa ah, ginagamit mo sa paggawa ng maupuan, gano'n. So, nung beginning of the year, January 1, siyempre puno pa yung ano mo, puno pa yung stock room mo kasi hindi mo pa nagagamit, eh. Pero pagdating ng December, baka isang kahon na lang yung natitira, okey? Eh, kung ni-record mo nung January yan, tandaan mo nung ni-record mo nung January, lahat yan naka-asset, 3 kahon ni-record mo as asset. Pagdating ng December 31, 'pag hindi ka nag-adjust, 3 kahon pa rin yung naka-record. Eh, ano ba yung totoong laman na lang ng stock room mo? Isang kahon na lang. Kaya kailangan mong mag-adjust, okey? I-recognize mo yung dalawang kahon na na-expense mo na, okey? Yung dalawang kahon na na-expense mo na. Alright, so gawin natin for exercise number 3. So, January 1, bumili ka nga ng 5,000 worth ng supplies. Exercise number 3. So, entry number 1, bumili ka ng supplies, no? January 1. So, January 1, lagay mo yung date, 2025, bumili ka ng supplies. Asset mo siya na record, worth 5,000. Credit, cash, 5,000. Next, yung entry mo nung adjusting na, December 31 na, sabi, 1,500 na lang yung natitirang supplies. Tama? 1,500 na lang daw. Ayun, oh. Sabi dito, nung nagbilang yung kliyente, physical count, naging 1,500 na lang yung natitira. Eh, magkano yung naka-record mo? 5,000. So, kailangan mong bawasan yung 5,000 na yan. So, 5,000 minus 1,500, kailangan mo siyang bawasan ng 3.5 para mag-reflect yung actual balance ng supplies mo. Okay? So, dapat kang mag-expense ng 3,500. So, supplies, expense, 3,500. Credit, supplies, 3,000. Bakit ba kulay blue? Gawin nating red. Supply. Ay, kulit mo rin ah. Kailangan red niya eh. Red. Yan. Supplies, expense. 3,500. Credit, supplies. 3,500. Okay? So, para pag gumawa ka ng T-account as of year-end, yung office supplies mo o yung supplies T-account mo, yung asset, meron siyang debit na 5,000. Tapos, kinredit mo ng 3,500. Therefore, ang matitira sa kanyang balanse is 1,500 na lang, which is yung actual na bilang nung nag-physical count yung kliyente mo. Okay? So, yun yung entry for exercise number 2. Pakita natin. Debit, supplies, 5,000. Credit cash, 5,000. Tapos yung nagamit, 3,500. Kaya nag-expense siya ng 3,500. Credit, supplies, 3,500. Ayan. Sige nga, nagets ba to? Kung nagets, pumuso. Kung hindi, unmute. Alright. Sige, sige. Tuloy natin. Tuloy natin sa exercise 4, prepaid rent naman. Lahat to, deferrals ha. Tignan mo. Pansinin mo, prepaid rent, lumabas ulit yung cash. Nagbayad ka ulit ng cash eh. Nung supplies din, maaga kang nag-expense. Maaga kang naglabas ng cash, rather. Okay. Ito, prepaid rent. Okay. So, basahin natin yung exercise for prepaid rent. So, dito natin lagay, no? December 1, 2025, paid 60,000 for 6 months rent. Tapos, nirecord niya as asset. So, asset method ulit yung ginamit. Okay? Tapos, prepare initial entry, prepare adjusting entry. Okay? So, gawin natin. Exercise 4. December 1, 2025, prepaid rent, debit. Debit prepaid rent, credit cash. Magkano ulit? 60,000. Okay, bakit prepaid rent yung ginamit natin? Prepaid rent yung ginamit natin na account kasi asset method yung ginawa ni client. Okay? Sige, mamaya nga gawin natin yung expense method. Gawin natin yung expense method. Use expense method. Okay. Later. After natin gawin yung asset method. No? Para lang ma-compare natin. So, ito. Asset method ulit yung ginawa niya. No? So, kaya debit natin prepaid rent. 60,000. Okay? Tapos yung entry natin nung adjusting na, December 1 yung nag-start. So, ibig sabihin, 1 month lang. December 31, 2025. 1 month lang yung lumipas. So, yung prepaid rent mo na 60,000, ilang months mo ba pakikinabangan daw yan? 6 months. 6 months rent. So, 6 na buwan daw to. 6 months. So, kuhanin mo nga yung per month nito. Yung per month niya, syempre, 60,000 divided by 6 months, meron kang 10,000 per month. So, yung 10,000 per month, kailangan mo i-recognize as expense. Okay? So, kaya, nung December 31, nung lumipas na yung isang buwan, kailangan mo na mag-record ng rent expense. Magkano? 10,000. Kasi isang buwan na yung nagamit. Credit, prepaid rent. 10,000. Yun. So, ganon. Ang gagawin mo, na adjustment. So, tingnan natin asset method to Asset method. Hatiin natin dito yan. Lah, pasigip na pala yung kabila. Okay lang. Okay. Hatiin natin dito. So, gawa tayong T account for asset method. For asset method, yung prepaid rent mo, tsaka yung rent expense, gawan mo ng T account. Okay. For prepaid rent, meron kang 60,000 debit nung una. 60,000. Tapos, meron kang credit na 10,000. So, meron kang 50,000 na remaining balance ng prepaid rent mo. Then, yung rent expense mo naman na T account, meron kang 10,000 na debit. So, yan. For asset method. Okay? Gawin natin yung expense method dito sa kabilang side para lang ma-compare natin. So, kung expense method yung ginawa, sa initial entry, December 1, 2025, ang ide-debit mo instead na prepaid rent ay rent expense agad. Expense method, no? In-expense mo agad yung binayad mo na 60,000. Credit, cash, 60,000. Okay? So, sa adjusting entry mo ng December 31, 2025, ang kailangan mong i-recognize is yung unused portion nung rent expense na yan. Kasi hindi naman buong 60,000 expense mo na eh. Kasi nga, good for 6 months yan. Eh, ilang buwan pa lang ba nagagamit? 1 month pa lang. So, dapat ang matira lang sa rent expense mo ay 10,000, which is yung kinumpit mo kanina. Okay? So, ang gagawin mo diyan, bawasan mo yung rent expense. Paano mo babawasan? I-credit mo yung rent expense. Bawasan mo ng 50,000 para ang matira lang sa kanya ay 10,000. Ano yung kapartner niya na debit? Eh di yung prepaid rent. Okay? Prepaid rent, 50,000. Okay? Yan, sana nakukuha mo ha. Sana nakukuha mo yung concept. No? Ang purpose ng adjusting entry is to reflect the actual expenses or the actual revenues as of year end. So sa atin, ayan, ang actual expense natin ay 10,000 lang. So gawa ka nga ng T-account ulit ng rent expense. Saka T-account ng prepaid rent. So yung rent expense mo, nung una, meron kang 60,000. Tapos, nag-credit ka ng 50,000. Therefore, ang ending balance ng rent expense mo ay 10,000 na lang, 10,000. Then yung prepaid rent mo, nagkaroon ka ng 50,000 nung nag-adjust ka. Debit 50,000. Okay? So tingnan mo prepaid rent balance is 50,000 under expense method, which is the same sa prepaid rent balance mo using the asset method. Ayun, no? 50,000 din. Then yung rent expense, tama, dapat same lang. 10,000 under the two methods. Ayun. Okay? Nagkaiba sila sa initial entry kasi yung asset method, syempre, sa asset muna nag-record. Tapos yung expense method, sa expense agad nag-record. Then, since nagkaiba sila sa initial entry, mababago rin yung adjusting entry nung dalawa. Magbabago yung adjusting entry under the two methods, pero ultimately, yung magiging ending balances nila is the same dapat. No? Ayan. Okay? Nasundan ba to? Puso ka nga o nasundan? Walang pumupuso Yun, meron na. Alright. O sige, meron pa ba tayong problem sa deferrals? Hindi, solution na to no? Sa prepaid rent, debit, monthly rent is 10, tapos rent expense, 10,000. Tama na. Wala nang problem. So, balikan lang natin. What did we learn daw, no? The difference between deferral methods confirmed. Both methods, same final balances, which is yun nga, yung ginawa natin dito. Nakita mo, same yung final balances under the two methods. Ito, adjusting entry is critical for accurate statements. Magkakaiba sila ng adjusting entry, depende kung anong method yung ginamit. Kung asset method, or expense method, or liability method, or revenue method. Okay. O, sige. Bago tayo magpunta sa accruals practice, siguro mag 10-minute break muna tayo. Okay. CR break, water break, or mag-stretching ka muna. Balik tayo in 10 minutes. So, 9:52. O, mag-Coachella muna tayo dito. Yo. Tara, tuloy natin sa accruals practices, practice questions or exercises. Okay? So, unlike deferrals, sa accruals, isang entry lang daw. Wala tayong original entry. Okay? Wala tayong initial entry pag accruals. Okay? So, exercise 1. Teka, mag-prepare lang tayo ng panibagong whiteboard na malinis. Yan, malinis. A company rents office space. So, nangungupahan daw o nagre-renta yung kumpanya ng office space. The monthly rent is 20,000. Okay? Then the rent for December 2025 is due on January 10, 2026. Okay? So yung renta mo ng December 2025, January mo pa babayaran. The company prepares its financial statements on December 31, 2025. Okay? So paano magagawa ng entry yan? Kasi explain why an adjusting entry is needed, tapos prepare the adjusting journal entry on December 31, 2025. So, unahin natin yung unang task. Explain why an adjusting entry is needed. Bakit daw natin kailangan mag-adjust dito sa December 31? Kasi, tingnan mo, yung rent for December 2025, nagamit mo na, no? As of December 31, 2025. Okay? Ibig sabihin, pinakinabangan mo na yung space. Nagamit mo na yung space eh. So, dapat ba may expense ka na? Yes, dapat may expense ka na. Kaya lang, kung hindi ka mag-a-adjust, kung hindi mo gagawin yung adjusting entry, magkakaroon ka lang na expense kapag nagbayad ka na, which is sa January 10, 2026 pa. Okay? So, tama ba yun? Hindi. Dapat, ngayon pa lang, December 31, 2025, i-recognize mo na yung expense mo kahit hindi mo pa siya babayaran para ma-achieve mo yung matching principle. Okay? Matching principle pa rin tayo. Ayan. Kasi pinakinabangan mo siya ng December 31, 2025, dapat lang doon mo i-recognize yung expense. Okay? So, tara, prepare natin yung adjusting entry on December 31, 2025. So, accruals na tayo. Exercise. Hindi. Accruals. Parang maganda yung purple eh. Ba't ang nipis? Kapalan natin konti. Accruals. Exercises. So, number 1. So, sabi natin wala na tayong initial entry, no? Adjusting entry agad ang gagawin natin ng December 31, 2025. Sabi, ang monthly rent daw ay 20,000 per month. Tama? Ayun, no? 20,000 monthly rent. Okay? Tapos, yung rent natin ng December 31, hindi pa nare-recognize, no? Kasi hindi pa binabayaran eh. So, dapat i-recognize mo na yan. So, December 31, dapat meron ka ng rent expense na 20,000. Anong credit mo? Eh di liability. Liability account. Okay? Pwedeng rent payable or accounts payable. Kung ano man yung nasa chart of accounts. Rent payable na lang gamitin natin. 20,000. So, ito na mismo yung adjusting entry mo ng December 31, 2025. Okay? Ngayon, tatawid na tayo ng accounting period. Tatawid na tayo ng January. Okay? Sabi, January 10, 2026, babayaran yung upa. So, meron kang credit sa cash, 20,000. Siyempre, wala ka ng debit sa rent expense kasi dinebit mo na yan last year. Kung kailan mo talaga siya naging expense. Ang ide-debit mo, rent payable. Alisin mo na yung rent payable mo. Debit mo na. Kasi nga, wala ka ng payable. Nabayaran mo na 20,000. Pero ito, ay entry mo next year pa. No? So, tumawid ka na ng accounting period dyan. Pero pag tinanong ka, ano, adjusting entry mo, ito lang yun. Yung una, December 31, 2025, debit rent expense, credit rent payable. Ayun. So, ito, debit rent expense, credit rent payable. Okay? Nasundan ba ito? Yung exercise mo natin sa accruals. Pumuso ka nga. Mag-like ka nga. O kung ano mga reacts meron dyan. Ayun. Heart reacts. Sige. Alright, very good. O sige, sige. Tuloy natin to. Number 2. Accrued revenue naman tayo. Accrued revenue. So dito, tandaan mo, sa deferrals, deferred revenue or unearned revenue ang tawag dyan, no? Unearned revenue. Ibig sabihin, natanggap mo na yung cash, hindi mo pa na-perform yung service. Baligtad sa accruals. Sa accruals, nagawa mo na yung service, hindi mo pa nare-receive yung cash. Okay? So, meron kang receivable pag accruals. Okay? So, basahin natin yung scenario. A landscaping business completed a project for a client. Uy, natapos na ni business yung project. Congrats. Nakumpleto niya na yung end niya ng deal, no? So, nagawa niya na yung part niya dun sa deal. So, nagawa niya na yung landscaping for the client on December 28, 2025. The total fee for the project is 45,000. But the invoice will be sent to the client on January 5 pa. So, nagawa na, natapos na yung obligation to perform, natapos niya na noong December 28, kaya lang hindi pa niya nasisingil. Sisingilin niya daw January 5 pa. Tapos with the payment due date of January 31, 2026. So, anong i-record mo dyan? Siyempre, kailangan mo i-record yung revenue. Natapos mo na yung end mo dun sa contract niya eh. Nagawa mo na yung landscaping. So, may revenue ka na ba dapat? Yes, meron ka na dapat. Kahit hindi pa nagbabayad yung kliyente? Yes, meron ka na revenue. So, record mo yung revenue, record mo rin yung receivable mo. Okay, so gawin natin dito. Exercise number 2, December 28 niya natapos. So, December 28, may revenue na siya dapat. Debit, accounts receivable. Magkano? 45,000. Credit, service revenue, 45,000. Ayan. O dito, December 28 niya na-receive, no? December 28 niya pala, natapos yung performance. Pero nag-adjust sa December 31 lang din. Mm. Pero better kung adjust mo agad pag na-recognize mo na meron kang revenue. Okay. Pero dito sa year end din siya nag-adjust, December 31, 2025. Normally kasi, pag binigyan ka ng problem, bibigyan ka ng maraming transactions. Kunwari, 1 to 10 na transactions. 1 to 10 transactions. Then, may separate section for adjusting entries. Adjustments. So, sabihin sa'yo, on December 31, nakita mo na meron ka na palang na-perform na obligation. Tapos meron ka ulit ditong adjustment ulit, no? On December 31, nabilang mo yung supplies mo, ganito na lang. So, mag-a-adjust ka ulit. So, therefore, yung mga adjustments na yan, year-end talaga ginagawa. Normally, nasa problem. Ay, dito kasi, binigyan pa tayo ng date na December 28. So, pwede naman, diyan ka mag-entry. Kung kailan mo natapos ma-perform yung obligation mo. Recognize mo na agad yung revenue. Okay? Pero kung hindi mo nga na-recognize, dapat sa year-end ma-recognize mo. Para within the same year pa rin, within the accounting period, ma-recognize mo yung revenue. And hindi natin ma-violate, again, yung matching principle. Kasi mahalaga yan, no? Kailangan i-record mo yung expenses dun sa period kung kailan mo talaga siya na-incur. Tapos i-record mo yung revenue dun sa period kung kailan mo talaga siya na-earn. Ganun, no? Kailangan hindi tumawid na accounting period. Okay? Para malaman mo talaga yung performance mo. Performance ng business during the year. Okay? So dito, December 28 niya natapos. O kung hindi man niya na-record ng December 28 yan, kailangan ma-record niya ng December 31. Okay? Kailangan mahabol niya bago matapos yung taon. So debit, accounts receivable, ayun. Debit, accounts receivable, credit, service revenue, 45,000. Ayun, yung adjusting entry mo for December 31, 2025. Okay, sige, balitan na natin to. Okay? Then, paano pag na-receive na? Sabi, January 10 ba marireceive? January 10? 2020. Hindi, 31 pala, no? January 31, 2025, marireceive yung cash. So, debit cash, 45,000. Credit, accounts receivable, 45,000. Ayun. Okay? May question ba dito? Accrued revenue? Pag wala, puso ka. Pag meron, unmute lang. Wala pa rin tanong, no? Kayang-kaya mo to. Alright. And interest accrual naman tayo. So dito, pag interest, kailangan mo basahin yung problem maigi ulit. No? Minsan, take note, minsan sasabihin sa iyo ng problem. No? Pag mabait yung problem, sasabihin sa iyo ng problem. On December 31, i-record mo yung interest earned. Pero paano kapag hindi sinabi ng problem na may kailangan kang i-record na interest? Kailangan matalas ka. Kailangan mabasa mo agad. Kunwari, meron siyang hawak na mga receivables na interest bearing. Kagaya nito. A company holds a note receivable with a principal of 200,000. Ibig sabihin ng note receivable, may hawak siya na promissory note. No, sabi diyan, I promise to pay you this amount, 200,000 after I receive my salary. Parang gano'n yung mga notes, no? Yung mga promissory notes. I promise to pay you. Tapos, this note will bear an interest of 6%. Okay, so sabi ng note mismo, 6%. Kikita ka ng 6% interest annual. Okay? Which is payable every 6 months. On October 31 and April 30. Yan yung nakalagay dun sa promissory note. Okay? So, kailangan nating i-record kung meron ba tayong interest receivable. Okay? So, gawin natin. No? The company is preparing its books for the year-end December 31, 2025. So, in task natin, number 1, calculate the interest that needs to be accrued. So, yung note natin, merong 3 parts, no? Meron tayong principal, which is yung 200. Meron tayong interest, o tinatawag dito rate, o interest rate, or R na lang. Then, yung time. So, binigyan ba tayo ng time dito? Every 6 months yung binigay na time. Okay. Every 6 months. Time. So, basic lang tayo no, na pag-compute ng interest. Kasi yung pag-compute ng mga complicated, medyo challenging na interest rates, sa time value of money mo yun, pag-aaralan. So, dito, kailangan lang natin malaman kung bayad ba yung interest or hindi as of year end. Okay? So, calculate the interest that needs to be accrued. So, basahin natin ulit yung problem. Meron kang 200,000 na notes receivable. Yung notes receivable, 6% interest bearing. Okay? Annual. Payable every 6 months. Okay? So, October 31 and April 30. Yan. So, yung October 31 na interest, tingnan mo maigi ha, yung October 31 na interest, bayad yan. Kasi, ang kailangan mo is yung December 31. So, mag-drawing ka ng timeline. Okay, kunwari ito, January. January, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Ayan. Tapos ito, December. So, kung ang interest ay payable, ayun, payable every 6 months, tapos nagbayad siya October, so bayad siya hanggang October, pati April. So, ang hindi niya bayad is yung interest from October to November to December. Ibig sabihin, 2 months yung interest na hindi bayad. Okay? Ibig sabihin, may 2 months interest ka na kailangan mong i-recognize. Gets? O dapat gets mo yan, no? Kasi nag-drawing naman tayong timeline. Ulitin pa rin natin, no? Yung note payable, 200,000 yung principal, nag-e-earn ng 6% interest, which is payable every 6 months, October 31 and April 30. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung 6 months na annual interest, hatiin sa dalawang parts, no? Tig 6 months sila. Isa, October 31, isa, April 30. Okay? So, computein natin yung interest accrual. So, meron na ditong computation, no? Yung 200,000 na principal, i-multiply mo dun sa rate na 6%. Then, makukuha mo yung total interest. Okay? In pesos. In peso amount. Itong rate na to, interest rate. Okay? Interest rate. So, nakuha yung total interest every year, no? So, every year yan. Annual. So, yung annual interest mo, divide mo sa 12 months. Okay? Kasi yung annual interest na 12,000, pang buong taon yan. Divide mo sa 12 months para makuha mo yung per month na 1,000. And yung 1,000 na per month, minultiply sa 2 months. Bakit? Yung 2 months lang yung kailangan mong i-accrue. Yung 2 months na interest na. Okay? Bakit? Up to October 31, bayad kasi siya. Okay? So, up to October 31, bayad siya. Bakit? Kasi sabi doon ng problem, payable every 6 months. So, no October 31, nagbayad siya. Kailan yung susunod na bayad? Sa April pa, next year. So, bibilang ka from October to December kung ilang months yung na-earn, 2 months. So, kailangan mo mag-record ng 2 buwan na interest receivable. Okay? So, paano computein? Ito nga sa baba. Yung 200,000 principal times interest rate, makukuha mo yung total interest per year. Yung total interest per year, divide mo sa 12 months para makuha mo yung per month. Okay? Then, yung per month, multiply mo sa kung ilang buwan yung kailangan mong i-accrue. So, sa case natin, November and December. So, 2 months. Therefore, meron kang 2,000 na interest receivable. So, paano mo i-entry yun? December 31, 2025, kailangan mo ng debit sa interest receivable. 2,000. Credit interest income. 2,000. And yan na mismo, yung adjusting entry mo for December 31. Ngayon, anong entry mo kapag na-receive mo na yung interest? Kailan mo mare-receive yung susunod na payment? April, di ba? April, January, February, March, April. April 30, 2026. Okay? April 30 yung sumunod, di ba? April 30, ayun. So, pag na-receive mo na on April 30, 2026 yan, isang buo yan. No? Marireceive mo. Debit, cash. Magkano? 12,000 divided by 12 months is 1,000 per month. Okay? Eh, ang marireceive mo on April 30, 2026 ay ilang buwan? Bilangin mo From October 1, 2, to January, no? 3, 4, 5, 6. Itong period na to, 0. January 1 yan. Which is yung time 0. Okay, after December, tatalon ka ulit, no? January, February, March, April. So, 6 months yung iyong marireceive. So, 6 months. So, times 6. So, 6,000 ang marireceive na cash on April 30. So, debit cash, 6,000. Ngayon, yung credit mo ang medyo mahahati, no? Kasi yung kalahati, o di, actually, yung 2,000 is revenue mo last year. Then yung 4,000 is revenue mo this year. Hatiin natin tong 6,000 eh. Yung 2,000 tsaka 4,000. Yung 2,000 is yung 2 months nung 2025. Saan mo nakita yon? Sa timeline, nung dinrawing mo to. Ito yun, no? Yung 2 months na to. Then yung 4 months, yun yung 4,000, which is na-earn mo 2026 na. So, saan yun? Itong 4 months na 'to, January to April, okay? Therefore, yung credit mo on April 30 ay mahahati. Yung 4,000 is interest income, 4,000. Then yung 2,000 is interest receivable. Bakit? Tatanggalin mo na yung receivable na ni-record mo nung December 31, 2,000. Okay? Ayan. So, pag tiningnan mo, as of April 30, wala nang interest receivable. Natanggal na, nabura na. Tapos, yung interest income mo, pag binilang mo, mula December hanggang April, o mula October hanggang April is 6,000. You know, 2,000 from 2025, 4,000 noong 2026. Yun. Yan. Ito yung siguro medyo challenging for accruals, no? Yung interest. Kasi pwede nga tanungin, magkano ang income na i-recognize mo for 2025? Ang sagot is itong 2,000. Tapos pag tinanong ka, magkano ang income na i-recognize mo sa next year? Edi itong 4,000 lang. Pero ano yun, medyo advanced na yun. Doon lang tayo mag-focus sa adjusting entries. So dito siguro, sa December 31 entry na yan. Okay? Pero mahalaga rin na alam mo kung ano mangyayari sa mga susunod na kabanata kapag nagbayad na yung nagkakautang sa'yo. Okay? So, solution on accruals is ito. Debit, interest receivable, credit, interest, revenue. Okay, may tanong ba dito sa interest? Pag meron, unmute lang. Pag wala, puso lang ulit. Uy, gets pa rin nila. Very good. Sige. Next natin, accrued salaries. So, salaries, expense to, no? Salaries expense. Okay. So, a company pays its employees a total of 50,000 every Friday of a 5-day work week. So, Monday to Friday, 50,000 ang bayad. Napaka laki nung ano, no? Sahod, no? On December 31, 2025, Wednesday daw to. Okay. Determine the amount of salaries to be accrued and prepare the adjusting entry on December 31, 2025. So, dito sa case natin, meron kang 5-day work week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, may 5 araw. Ngayon, 50,000 daw ang bayad every Friday. So, tuwing Biyernes ka nagbabayad ng 50,000. Kaya lang, pumatak yung year-end ng Wednesday. So, ito, December 31. So, ibig sabihin, meron ka nang i-accrue na Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Meron ka nang i-accrue na 3 days na salary. Kasi 3 araw na nag-work yung trabahador mo, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, kailangan mo mag-accrue ng salaries payable na 3 araw. Okay, so paano mo kukumputin yun? Eh di yung 50,000, divide mo sa 5 days. Ito, napakalan ng sahod niya, no? Ano kayang trabaho nito? So, 50,000 divided by 5 days, 10,000 siya per day. So, yung 10,000 na yan, multiply mo sa ilang araw nagtrabaho yung trabahador mo. 3 days. So, 30,000 ang kailangan mong i-accrue on December 31, 2025. Okay? Kasi yun, no? December 31, magre-report ka. O, ano yan, year-end. FS yan, financial statement date yan. So, kailangan mong mag-report ng salaries expense for 3 days. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, anong number na to? Number 4, no? So, December 31, 2025, kailangan mo mag-record ng salaries expense na 30,000, then salaries payable na 30,000 credit. Okay. Ayun o, salaries expense, salaries payable. Okay? So, anong magiging entry mo ngayon pagdating ng Friday? So, anong petsa na sa Friday? December 31, Wednesday, no? So, ito, January 1 yung Thursday, January 2 yung Friday. So, anong entry mo pagpatak ng January 2? So, lagyan natin dito. January 2, 2026. So, kailangan mo ulit, hindi, yung gawin muna natin yung credit side, no? Kasi yun yung mas madali. Yung credit side is maglalabas ka na ng cash kasi magbabayad ka na, di ba? Sabi diyan, magbabayad ka na. You will pay your employee. The company pays its employees every Friday. Ayun, every Friday. Every Friday na ng January to. So, magbabayad ka na ba? Yes, magbabayad ka na. So, credit cash, 50,000. Ngayon, yung problema mo is yung debit side. Pero madali lang din yan. Okay? Yung debit side mo, unahin mong i-cancel yung salaries payable. Okay? Itong 30,000 na yan, kasama yan doon sa 50,000 na binayaran mo ng Friday. Okay? Then, ang natitirang balanse na lang is 20,000, which is yung salaries expense mo. Salaries expense mo. For the remaining 2 days, which is yung Thursday and Friday. Okay? So, ito yung expense mo for Thursday and Friday. Na-record mo siya 2026 na. Tapos yung expense mo ng Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday ay nasa December 2025. So, last year pa. Okay? So, tama yung pinresent mo na salaries expense for 2025. No, kasama dyan yung 3 days. Then, tama rin yung pinresent mo na expense for January 1, 2026, which is yung 2 days na natira. Okay? So, ito yun. Nung drawing natin. 3 days for 2025, 2 days for 2026. Ayun. Okay. So, para mas madali, pwede mo rin gawin yung 50,000 na yan. Hatiin mo sa 2/5 tsaka 3/5. Based dun sa drawing mo na kalendaryo, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 tsaka 2. So, ito yung 3, 3/5. Tapos ito yung 2, 2/5. So, 50,000 times 2/5 is 20,000. 50,000 times 3/5 is 30,000. So, ganun lang din yan. Nasa sa'yo na kung paano padadaliin yung pag-compute mo do sa adjusting entry and sa subsequent na pagbayad dun sa expense. Ayun. Ayan. Nag-gets ba to? Yung number 4, accrued salaries. Sige nga, puso ka nga kung nag-gets mo. Alright. Ayun. So, sige. Kung hindi, mag-raise ka lang ng question, raise ng hand or unmute kung may tanong. Okay, mukhang wala naman, no? So, ito. Last notes na lang for accruals, no? What's the main point about accruals? Accrual entries are made to account for revenues earned and expenses incurred that have not yet been recorded in the books. So, ang ginagawa dyan, nire-record nga yung revenues earned tsaka expenses incurred na hindi mo pa nare-record sa books. So, they are a one-step process at the end of the period. So, wala kang original entry or wala kang initial entry. They ensure the matching principle is followed by pairing expenses with the revenues they help generate. Then last, accruals never involve cash account in the adjusting entry. Walang cash account sa adjusting entry. Okay, kasi ito yung adjusting mo, yung nasa year end. Yung cash will be Recorded subsequently na 'no, sa sumunod na period na, 2026 na ni-record yung mga cash. Okey. Pero sa adjusting wala kang ire-record na cash. Ayan, may question ba rito? Okey, o sige. Kung walang question, ito yung next natin na magiging topic ha. Doubtful accounts, adjustments for doubtful accounts, tsaka depreciation. Uploaded na 'to lahat sa Teams mo, kaya basahin mo na in advance. Okey? Depreciation tsaka doubtful accounts, 'no. So, sa Thursday, since face to face tayo, meron kayong activity. Alright. So, may seat work tayo sa Thursday. Ayan, kung wala ng question, puwede ka ng mag, ah, leave sa call 'no.